On the last episode, we had a great conversation all wrapped around the world of professional wrestling. This week, we're going to jump back on the same train, but take a different track. This time, we're going to discuss another role that some wrestlers decide to take. I'm your host, James Cross. Alongside me always, his name is...
I'm Andy.
We ask you to join us on this amazing journey as we all become legend of the nerds. Today, we're going to take the inside look at a different role that some professional wrestlers may take between advertising of different products, TV show cameos, and movies. Making these decisions as wrestlers can be either making their career or even breaking their career. Let me start off, Andy, by asking you this. In your own opinion, do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea for professional wrestlers to kind of take a break from the ring and jump into movies and TV? Or do you think it's better for them to just stick with the ring stuff?
I don't have a problem with them jumping from TV ring. Like, for instance, with The Rock, he said, I'm done wrestling and I'm doing full-time television and movies, which is fine because he's done everything. So it's fine for him to do that. But then you get like the smaller roles that wrestlers like to play, like in WWE studios, which it's kind of fine with me because they want to broaden their horizon.
Okay.
I don't really feel like they lose a step in the ring. So being able to, like I said, broaden your horizons and get your name out there more in movies. Because we've mentioned before in other shows, there's people that aren't wrestling fans, but they like them in their movies.
Right. I personally think by multitasking, they can get ring rust. Because because a movie doesn't take a day to make, right? It takes several weeks, a couple of days, how long, whatever kind of production kind of movie it is. So I think if they're not in that ring, giving it 100%, I think they're going to lose their step in that ring.
I could see where you see that. I can say I haven't seen it as often for me because they come back and it's like, okay, yeah, they're just jumping back in because the whole storyline is they got injured or something like that. For me, I haven't really seen much ring rust compared to maybe if they got injured, where they're kind of slowing down because they maybe in their head are scared because of an injury. The whole movie thing, I really think they probably on the side still train some.
What about their fan base in the ring? You think about Randy Orton has been gone right now, right?
Yeah, because he just got done filming a movie.
Yeah.
Yep, I think it's...
And how long has he been out of that ring?
It's been about almost 2 months.
That's 2 months not in that ring. 2 months away from the fans, 2 months away from the crowd. Now, I mean, you have people like, well, is he a heel again? Is he a face again? What's he doing? I think, and then, I mean, what's he going to do?
But you got to imagine, though, that pop first coming back is amazing, though. Because for someone like Randy Orton, for instance, he's such a big known name, I don't feel like him being out a couple months is really going to affect anything. People are always going to still be like, oh my God, he's back. Huge pop. For smaller guys, let's say one of your favorites like Zack Ryder.
Ryder, yeah.
People are like, okay.
But he hasn't really done a lot of movies and TVs, has he?
No.
Here's an example, perfect example. The Miz.
Yep.
He has been doing a lot more movies than he has been in that ring. I mean, he was a champion at one point in time. He was on top of the ball, I was a huge fan. And then all of a sudden he decides to fade away, jump into Hollywood.
No, not even big Hollywood. He's only doing really mainly WWE studio movies, so those are like direct to DVD. But I can understand that. Miz was a very popular, whether he was a face or a heel, wrestler. And I guess you are making your point. He's going downhill a lot now because he is doing 2-3 movies a year.
I've seen him in that ring lately, and not very good looking. Not like he used to.
No.
But his acting career is boosting up, and he is pretty good behind the camera.
Exactly.
His promos are great. Those promos do go on to movies, so he can actually say the lines perfectly instead of, not knowing what he's doing. Which I think is good for him that way. But for some wrestlers, I don't think they should do it at all. I honestly don't think. I mean, John Cena, he's fine. He does a movie like once every 2 years or something, you know?
You have to. I feel like if you're going to do the movie, do the split career thing, the movies and the wrestling, you have to. I guess the only thing I can think of is be good at your trait. You have to be able to know how to juggle a double life between, you still got to stay fit and stay training, because when you come back, you're going to have to get right back in that ring and go full force, but you also want to give your all in the movie as well. So it's to the point where you got to know if you can do both. And I feel like John, only doing a movie every so often, it's more evenly split, whereas Miz doing 3 movies a year or something like that, and trying to wrestle, it's not. It's too much. You gotta know where to balance it.
It is too much. I mean, Randy's is his second movie now?
Yeah, he's. This is actually his first this year, but yeah, second overall.
Okay. Now here's an example of a person that has gone and done movies, and then he kind of disappeared in the wrestling ring. I don't know why. He was really good at the ring too. I'm talking about Ted DiBiase.
Exactly. Yeah. He was in the Marine too.
Yeah. And then after that, what happened to his wrestling career?
I think what happened with Ted is he got injured, and after that they did the whole split of the legacy thing with him and Cody, and after that Cody went up, Ted went down, and I don't even think he's with the business anymore.
No, he split after he did the movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, there's an example of movies killing a person's career in the ring, I would say. Because I mean, he was getting really good at the ring. He did the movie, then I think the ring rust kind of kicked in where he wasn't really training in the ring area at all to do movies. You know, and then I haven't seen him around anything, have you?
Not really. I haven't even heard of him even wrestling in another company or anything.
I haven't heard anything about him at all. Well, but then again, you have other guys who just bounce back real good. And most of them, back in the 90s, have done a lot of cameos, which I thought was a perfect role for a wrestler to do. They want to get out of the ring, do something else, do cameo roles. Now, talk about Baywatch. Shawn Michaels did a cameo in Baywatch.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he was a bodyguard in a scene of a nightclub one time. You know, so, I mean, look at Shawn Michaels. Didn't affect his career at all, did it?
No.
But he got in there, and I think he's done a few other things, too. The show Walker, Texas Ranger back in the 90s. Randy Savage did a couple of episodes. And, I mean, Savage was a man back in the day, and continue will be the man no matter what, right?
Some will say.
Third Rock from the Sun, remember that show?
Never watched it, but I know of it.
China had about 4 or 5.
Well, China was in everything, though.
China wasn't everything, and she was still a phenomenal wrestler, though.
Well, I think
even with that,
it's because of her look. That's the thing. Depending on your look, I feel like, is where you're going to get the certain roles.
Okay.
Because, for instance, one of the movies not movies, TV shows I remember. Do you remember a show on Fox called Dark Angel?
Yeah.
Lita guest rolled in like the season finale or series finale of it.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, when you look at Lita, I feel like fits the role of a dark TV show like that.
Okay. Yep.
And that is one of the ones where you could say where it affected your career, because do you remember what happened on set?
Of Dark Angel, I did not.
Because she was doing her own stunts, and they harnessed her up, and she fell on her neck, and that's where she had the neck surgery.
Oh,
and
really?
She really was never the same after that neck surgery.
So that's another incident of Hollywood kind of messing up the wrestling career. That's interesting. And stunt work, you mentioned stunt work. There are a couple of wrestlers actually did a lot of stunt work in TV shows too.
Yep.
Terry Funk did a lot of stunt work. Not sure you remember Terry Funk at all?
I know Terry Funk.
Back in WCW?
Yep.
Then DDP did a lot of stunt work for movies. Which was...
He's using some of that DDP yoga?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, these guys are in such great shape all the time that stunt work is a really good choice for wrestlers to make in Hollywood. Make a good impact, because they can get out of the ring, do other stuff in entertainment, and they're good at that kind of stuff.
Well, it's even in the movies and stuff, you hear a lot of guys, like, for instance, Dwayne Johnson does his own stunts and stuff.
Does he really?
That's what I've heard. So even if a wrestler, I feel like, does their own stunts, people will have more respect for them also, because fans love it. I believe fans love it more when their favorite actors or actresses do their own stunts, because you know they're giving it their all in that movie.
Right.
For instance, you know, I mean, how many Jason Statham fans are there? And he does every single one of his stunts.
Yeah, it's true that. Statham is awesome.
And I feel like it gives you a better product if you do everything yourself.
Yeah, you really can't base stuff on stunt guys all the time. Sometimes you just gotta get your hands dirty. But I didn't think The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, did his own stunts.
I've heard that he does sometimes do his own stunts. I can't say that it's a 100% source that it is.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I feel like I read something or heard something somewhere is that he, like on the set of like G.I. Joe and something like that, that he was doing his own stunts.
G.I. Joe stuff.
Yeah. So
What was in the second movie, that, right?
yeah, Retaliation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Roadblock.
Of
course,
right.
you love
Yeah.
that one because Channing Tatum
Channing Tatum died like,
dies
in the
like
beginning,
5 minutes in.
which was awesome. Yeah. All right. So we have guys that's joined the wrestling career, that's going to movies. Do you think movies or TV the best place for them to be?
I feel like
Or do you think behind the scenes, it's stunt work is the best place?
I don't like the whole behind the scenes thing.
Okay.
I love the movies, but I also love those 1 or 2 episodes that big name wrestlers we know and love do on TV. For instance, one of our favorite shows we've mentioned before, Psych. We've had John Cena, we've had Miz, I believe, we've
Yep.
had Big Show,
Mickey James.
Mickey James. I mean, those were great episodes also.
And those are cameo roles, which I think is probably the best place for them, you know? Because it boosts up the WWE name and it boosts up that one show, too. I mean, Psych, I'm sure they got ratings for that one show with John Cena. Huge. I'm sure their ratings are huge for that episode.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I like the movie things too, but I could see where you're doing a little bit of acting on the side. That way, when your wrestling career is done, you can go full force into the big name movies, like Rock did, like Austin's doing right now.
Well, the difference between those two, we'll get these guys later on. I think the big difference is that Rock can still wrestle if he wants to. He chooses not to. Austin, I don't think he's cleared to wrestle anymore. There is a rumor that he is kind of cleared now, but I think his knee injury is so bad that he had no choice but to move on
Yeah.
to Hollywood.
So I mean, the John Cena thing and the Miz thing, I don't mind doing your WWE studio movies. I don't really even think they really have a choice in the matter, because you're signed with them, and Vince comes to you, for instance, and says, "You're doing this movie. You're doing it."
Yeah, that's how it works?
I really think that's how it works.
You don't think they had to audition at all?
I don't think so.
If the Miz had to audition for Marine 3?
Did he?
I don't know. I'm asking you. What's your opinion on it?
I don't think
Because
so.
I'm not gonna say Tom Cruise. I'm saying like maybe guys like Chris Hemsworth. He just can't be like, okay, I'm doing this movie. I want in that.
Well, no,
I'm
no,
sure
no, I
he's
mean-
got to audition for a movie.
Obviously, that's why you have agents. They say we have a good role we think you'll play in. You audition for it. They might do auditions in WWE studios, but I feel like they know who they want to play. For instance, Miz, he's been in a lot of movies lately for WWE studios, but he's also got a really good background with TV and acting.
In reality shows, right?
Yeah, but that helped him in WWE before he was wrestling, when he won like Tough Enough, for instance.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of behind the scenes with the mic and promos and stuff, because he was amazing with his promos and his speech and learning lines. Because that's the first thing, one of the things you have to do.
Learning lines. It's reality TV shows. No scripts in reality.
Well, no, what I mean is in WWE, you kind of know what you're going to say prior to it.
yeah, you do
Because
kind of go over it in your head.
Going into the business, all these wrestlers say they have taken acting classes, because that way it helps them with their promos
Okay.
or turning heel to face. It's like being on set.
But now Triple H with NXT actually has his own promo class there now, right?
I believe so, yeah, with the whole performance center.
Yeah, which I think is a great idea.
So with doing the WWE studio movies, I feel like if you do a couple here or there, like Orton, and now Dean Ambrose is getting into movies, it's going to help you learn how much effort it's going to take to make a movie, so that when you're wrestling career is over with, if you want to brighten your horizons and go somewhere else, you can
Yeah.
you can go
No,
to
what,
Hollywood.
Dean's done what, one movie now?
Yeah, he just did 12 Rounds 3.
He's the main star now, right?
Yep.
That's amazing. Those are good movies too.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the first one. Randy Orton was the second one, right?
Yeah, I didn't care too much for the second one, but yeah, because he's an EMT.
Ambulance driver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one for him. It's not that bad of a
It
movie.
was a good starter movie.
Which is weird, because, I mean, do you think that W Studios is a low-budget studio? Do you think Vince is being careful?
I think it was at first. Now it's starting to pick up because they did 12 Rounds 3. That's an action-packed movie.
Yep.
See No Evil 2. They went a little bit bigger with that.
Did they?
Yeah, and what's the Marines? They're on the fourth one now. So
Fourth one now.
yeah, Miz did three and 4.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then, of course, I mean, the lower budget ones, I think, are the holiday ones they did. Like, Miz just did Santa's Little Helpers. And the year before,
That's right.
Christmas
Santa's Little
Bounty.
Helper. He's done a lot of those are ABC movies, right? ABC Families?
They're WWE Studios, I think, but they are partnered with ABC Family.
Okay. All right. So what you're saying is wrestlers can be good actors. That's your opinion on
Yeah,
it?
I feel like,
You think that should be the direction they should be going after they get retired from wrestling, or they have to leave on injuries?
yeah.
I think it's a really good idea too.
I just feel like it helps in your performance when you come back to WWE. I feel like it's helping you with especially if you're not big on promos, for instance. After you do a movie, I feel like you should be at the top of your game.
Yeah, I mean, speaking like that, yeah.
I mean, look at Miz. Even though we can say the wrestling has gone down, but his character right now, for instance, when he came back from doing the Marine 4, all of a sudden they changed his whole gimmick to this A-lister, and he's got the glasses,
scarf, right?
the scarf. I'm from Hollywood. Even on the jumbotron, it's the L.A. highway and
Oh,
everything.
that's right. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
that kind of now.
working into his gimmick, which is good.
Exactly. They
Which is
got it
good.
because you want to change things up. You don't want everything to be stale.
Well, let's jump on another track of this. Let's say you have a Hollywood actor who wants to be a wrestler. Do you think that's possible at all? Let's put how about Tom Hardy? Let's say Tom Hardy wants to be the next
You
WWE superstar.
really want to mention Tom Hardy on this show?
I think we should go here.
I'm surprised.
Let's do this.
You hating Tom Hardy so much. Well, not even that.
Because I mean, like in his movies, he's a great speaker and all. So who do you think his promos would be like?
Jeez, yeah, if he brought the Bane mask, probably amazing.
The Bane mask.
I think Tom Hardy's a bad example.
Think it's a bad example?
But I was going to say the best example would be Stephen Amell.
Okay.
Because the promo he did,
Mm-hmm.
outstanding. And he showed how well he can react in that ring. Jumping over the barricade, hopping into the ring, and even at SummerSlam with the crossbody outside the ring.
Right.
I feel like if they wanted to train for a couple years, maybe. But I don't see it happening.
No, I think the only way that could really happen is if, because it's happened in the past many times, if you take a retired sports star and they want to become
Yep.
a wrestling star.
Or a sports star
That's
that
better, you know,
couldn't
like
make it.
football players.
Yeah, Goldberg was a football player winning to WWE. JBL Bradshaw, he did it.
Yeah.
There's a couple more. I just trying to figure them out.
What the heck is his name? From big black guy, tall guy. I can't think of his name, but I know he was a football star too.
And
He
then-
would bark in the ring.
Oh, Junkyard Dog.
What? No. He's wrestling now. He's just in the first
Oh,
round.
Titus O'Neil.
Titus O'Neil. O'Neil, yeah.
Yeah, he was played college football in for Florida Gators, and The Rock. He
Well, we can't consider The Rock, because The Rock is a third generation
know that.
superstar.
But,
so he was destined to be in the WWE.
there was also he retired though. Do you remember a guy named Christopher Nowinski? He He was the Harvard graduate. He was on the first season of Tough Enough.
It sounds real familiar. It sounds real familiar.
He actually came in second place in Tough Enough.
Is that the Tough Enough with Taz hosting?
Yeah, it's the very first one.
Okay.
Very first season.
All right.
He was so good, they signed him on, and his gimmick was this Harvard graduate, and he played football and everything, too. So that just shows you, though, a guy who graduated from Harvard,
Yeah.
he could do anything, but he wants to do this instead.
So weird, yeah. So pretty much what we're saying is that, if you're a sports star, athlete, it's easy enough to become a WWE wrestler. A wrestler should move on to be an actor. That should be the next big stop because Edge and stuff. Edge is a great example of that.
Amazing example.
Adam Copeland, perfect example of a person who retired wrestling early because of injuries, moved on to become an actor, and he's awesome.
And that's a good example, though, too, where you don't have to go into movies, where movies might be more a bigger jump or too tough, I guess, because it takes so long and there's a lot of time and effort into it, and then trying to audition for the role.
Yeah.
Try TV. With Edge going to the sci-fi series Haven, which is such a popular television show.
It was a good show.
And it's not so much pressure or so much time and effort when you have a half an hour or an hour television show compared to a full-length movie.
Yeah.
So.
And then plus he did a couple cameos. He's done 2 movies.
Yeah, he did a WWE Studios movie.
One with him and Jamie Kennedy, right?
Yeah, I'm forgetting what the name was, but it was pretty good.
It was pretty funny, yeah.
And I mean, even on the side, Edge was just in an episode of Flash as Atom Smasher.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Atom Smasher. That was a good part for him.
Exactly.
He's good in that. Any other thoughts on this topic before we move on?
All I can say is, I don't know if you want to talk about, though, because we're talking about cameo roles, some of the movies we've seen with people, wrestlers who did amazing jobs as cameo roles. You've got
What do you got?
Hulk Hogan, Rocky III.
Well, Hulk Hogan was the king of cameos back in the day.
Yep.
'Cause, I mean, he did a movie, Three Ninjas.
High Noon.
High Noon.
It's the third one, I believe.
Fourth one, I think.
Fourth?
I think it's the fourth one, yeah.
I mean, he's also done a lot of cameo roles where he plays himself. Actually, Hulk Hogan,
Yep.
Hulkamania wrestler, all
Yeah.
that stuff. So,
yeah, he's a huge, good example of it.
one of my favorites, which I just found out today prior to filming, was Randy Savage in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yes, but I didn't know that. Bonesaw. He played a wrestler.
Never knew that was Randy Savage because I never put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And amazing job.
Well, it's weird that you mentioned that because I just found out. I don't know how I didn't know this, but in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, Super Shredder was played by Kevin Nash.
Exactly.
I had no idea, and now I'm like, it makes sense. Because it actually worked and moves like him, you know?
Exactly.
I had no idea.
One of the others I can say is the movie The Wrestler. Look at all the former and present wrestlers that actually did small cameo roles in that movie.
Elijah Burke was in it, right?
Yeah, R-Truth, he did kind of a little walk by.
R-Truth, yep.
And I forget his name, but at the end of the movie, where the Ram is fighting his nemesis, who's like
Yes.
from Iran or something like that. I forget that guy's name, but he was an actual wrestler too. He
Yes.
wrestled in WCW. So the cameo roles, I mean, they're great things. And sometimes you don't even, like you with the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, didn't realize that.
Had no idea.
And we can even say now,
And I've seen that movie so many times.
another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 movie with a cameo role from somebody coming out, Sheamus.
Yeah, he plays Bebop, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
kind of funny.
It's gonna be great.
The two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 movies have the WWE wrestlers cameo roles.
Yeah,
It's pretty neat.
that is kind of cool.
So the cameo roles, I think, great way to go if you're first starting out to help you get that boost.
Well, with that said and done, I think it's time to move on because we're halfway through the show already. Let's do our top 5.
Let's do it.
It's our favorite time of the show.
My favorite.
So today's top 5 topic is going to be the 5 favorite wrestling movies, movies starring wrestlers in it. As you can see, our display up here, bunch of movies with wrestlers in it. Andy, what'd you think of this topic?
I love this topic because, I mean, just look at the front here. We have so many movies, and we could have even stockpiled more.
We could have, yep.
It just shows how many wrestlers out there want to be in movies, and how
Yeah.
many who are already doing it are making movies after movie after movie after movie. So it was a hard list for me, but I feel like I got my favorite.
I
top five.
really hope we don't have the same movies on our list.
I don't think we will.
Really hope.
I don't think we will. So let me start off with my number
All right.
5. Let me just say too, for me, my top 5 is you have The Rock, who does a lot of action movies. But what gets me going in the movie better is if I can see that wrestler do something you don't see that often.
Okay.
So like The Rock makes sometimes some family movies or some really, wow, he's not doing action, he's doing like a drama and can pull it off kind of. So that's where my list kind of goes. So number 5 though, I have the movie Legendary, starring John Cena and Danny Glover.
Okay. I remember
It's
this.
a great emotional movie. It kind of, you want to cry, I guess, in it.
It's
but-
about amateur wrestling, right?
yeah, exactly. So it's like a wrestler in a wrestling movie.
That was high school wrestling, right?
Yet where John Cena is the older brother of this nerdy kid who wants to follow in his brother's footsteps
Okay.
and become a championship wrestler, and he kind of trains him. It was just one of those dramatic stories of the troubles they were going through after their father died, and so John Cena's character kind of drinking a lot and everything and losing his passion to wrestle.
Right.
It was a great movie. Danny Glover did a great job in that movie.
Did a great job, yeah.
So, number 4 we have on here. It's a horror. Me not liking horror movies. It's See No Evil, starring Kane as Jacob Goodnight.
Honestly, I don't like horror movies either. I did enjoy that movie.
The thing is, you have to have that look, like I said earlier. Kane has that look to be in the horror movie. Really, he has no lines basically, but him walking around with that chain and that meat hook.
Well, here's a question for you about that movie. Did you like the movie because of the storyline, or did you like the movie just because Kane was awesome in that movie?
A little of both.
One of both?
I thought the storyline was pretty good too. The whole him living there, and you find out the caretaker, the little old lady, is actually his mother, and she's sadistic. It's always the mother who's the sadistic one.
Yeah.
And it's just these kids going there, like every other horror movie, kinda. And
Yep.
I guess it was more Kane playing it because I thought he did a great job just because of the look. So
I think that's the perfect part for him because that's kind of what he does in the ring, anyways. When he was the big red, machine in
exactly.
the ring, that's what he did anyway. So it was a perfect part for him.
Yep. Number 3 was starring The Rock. It was Gridiron Gang.
Ooh.
I love football. I love sports movies. And this is based off a true story. And I feel like The Rock loved doing this movie too because it's getting back to his roots of playing football.
Yeah, it was.
He loves football. And it's one, like I said, one of those different movies instead of action where he's got to try to portray this drama. What's the word I'm looking for? This drama character.
Okay, yeah.
So, great movie. Number 2, my boy though, John Cena again
Another John
in
Cena movie.
the Marine.
Marine.
That was I think his first one, his coming out for acting.
Yeah, his first leading role.
big one.
First
I mean,
leading role, yeah.
that movie went to theaters, and not many wrestling movies, when you're still a wrestler, go to theaters.
It wasn't a national release. It was a certain theater.
But it still did big.
Yeah.
I mean, we both will agree the worst part is the ending because it
Yeah.
kind of just cuts
It's just
off.
an abrupt ending.
But
Biggest pet peeve in any movie. You want to maybe hate a movie? Have an abrupt ending. I hate
But
it.
I thought great storyline, great movie. But it doesn't top my number 1, which will probably be my number 1 to the day I die, and that is starring The Rock in Walking Tall.
You had 3 Rock movies in there?
Did I? No,
No.
I had 2 because
2 and 2 Cenas, right?
yeah, and then a Kane.
Okay.
Um,
And a Kane.
Kane.
That's a full house, right?
Walking Tall, I feel like a lot of people have seen it and will agree it's an amazing movie. It's got
loved
the
it.
drama.
I loved it.
It's got the little love story in there. It's got the action. It's got everything. And with the comedy part's great with Johnny Knoxville. That was a great co-star for Rock. He needed somebody where Rock can do comedy, but I feel like Johnny Knoxville took the comedy part
Of course.
and said, look, Rock, go ahead and do your action and your drama. I'll put the comedy part on my shoulders.
He did a great job
And
in
it
that.
is just an
Yep.
amazing movie. So that is my top 5. Go ahead and top that.
Okay.
You're gonna. I feel like when I came up with this, you're gonna throw out some older school movies like Ready to Rumble. You made me watch. I only got about halfway through, but I feel like
Made you watch? Haven't you watching that?
I feel like that's gonna be on your list. But
Well, we'll start at number 5.
okay.
We have The Princess Bride.
Are you serious?
Classic movie. Everyone should watch. Andre the Giant was amazing.
I hate that movie.
Really?
I hated that movie
Wow.
so much.
Well, let's move on then, because I guess that's not going to be on the top 5, is it?
Well, you might. I mean, if you want to talk about it, go right ahead.
All right, number 4. We've talked about this one today. I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan, but this movie was great. I'm talking about The Longest Yard.
I wanted to put it on there, but I felt like they're more cameo roles. than
Well, I'm glad you didn't, because it's on my list. It was kind of cameo, but I mean, Austin, Nash, they both did a pretty good job in it. And really, the movie was a Collie movie.
Goldberg in there. The Goldberg part was the best. His name Battle and them doing the inappropriate
He
jokes
was the
about him
security
and everything.
captain, right?
He was
Goldberg?
What was he?
He was like the guard, like the captain guard, right?
No, he wasn't any of the guards. The guards were Nash and Austin, and then the inmates were Collie and Goldberg. Goldberg wore the giant X on his.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
His name was Battle, and like they give him the giant cup. They're like, "Oh, I think this was for you."
Giant cup, that's great. That movie was awesome. Yeah, I liked it because, I mean, and I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan because I don't like his comedy movies.
Mm-hmm.
When he does a movie and he doesn't try to be funny, that's when he's really funny. And him and having these guys like Austin, Nash, Collie, Goldberg made the movie real good, really entertaining. Number 3, Scorpion King.
It's
Had to be on
it's
there.
a classic.
It had to be on there for me. It's The Rock's first real big movie, and I always like that kind of time zone was wrapped around.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was people loved the whole storyline in The Mummy 2, where The
Yep.
Rock is the Scorpion King, and it's like, okay, we loved that myth in the movie of the
Yeah.
Scorpion King. Why not run with it and see if we can make a movie out of it?
Unfortunately, they should have stuck with just one Scorpion King movie, but they made 4 of them, and they just kind of lost control of the entire series.
The second one's not as bad. It's a prequel. 3 and 4 are the same actor, and it's kind of a continuation of the story. But I feel like if they wanted to keep going with it, I feel like The Rock would have been the best choice to do it.
I think a better storyline would be the best place to go with it. Because at the end of the Scorpion King, it made it look like he was a good guy. Everyone loved him. Besides, yay, let's love this guy,
Exactly.
But then at Mummy 2, what was his character in that movie?
He was a villain, but it explains that he,
Villain.
during a war,
Yeah.
he loses, and he makes a deal with the
I
demons.
just think they should have, maybe touched up on that in one of the movies. But they didn't touch
Yeah,
it
because
at all.
in 3 it does say he loses his kingdom,
Yeah.
but he's not evil yet.
No.
So it's like, okay, so what? Does he win another kingdom or something? Or?
Yeah. He wins in the kingdom in a lottery.
Yeah.
Number 2 on my list is Blade Trinity.
Really?
Yes.
You like the cameo roles here, don't you?
It was a cameo role.
Triple H didn't play that big of a
A
role.
big part in the bag, yeah. But the best part was his dog. That was the best part of the whole
Vampire
movie.
dog. I thought the best part was Ryan Reynolds in that movie.
The Pomeranian vampire dog.
I thought him and Ryan Reynolds co-playing off each other was the best.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think, like we always said, that's what makes these movies so good, is that you already have these wrestlers who's so used to acting in the ring. That's what makes the talents behind the screen in Hollywood for a movie so good and strong.
Yeah.
That they know how to play off of each other. Number 1, there it is. My favorite movie ever, Ready to Rumble. I love this movie. And David Arquette was a wrestler in WCW for a while, so he did have the lead role in this.
You really consider him wrestling?
He was considered in the locker room in WCW as a wrestler.
Oh, if you want to say that.
Look at WCW history.
I know, but
He was
There's a reason-
technically a wrestler.
there's a reason WCW is not existing anymore. Oh,
But this one also had Sting, Diamond Dallas Page, and a few others.
and they actually played themselves in the movie.
They did.
So,
They did.
I will say, during my list, I was so surprised. Right now, who is my favorite wrestler of all time?
John Cena.
No, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, okay.
So, one of my favorite Austin movies, I'm surprised I never put on my list, and I've been thinking to myself, why didn't I put it on there?
I was going to put The Condemned on here, but I was like, no, Andy's going to put that on his list. I'm not going to put The Condemned.
That's what Orton's doing right now. He did The Condemned 2. I was trying to remember what the movie he just finished was. It's Condemned 2. But yeah, you don't know how bad I wanted to put that on there. But I feel like it was like one of his first big movies. He didn't really play the role that well. It was a good movie. But I feel like he was kind of one-faced, didn't really act as well.
Right.
And then now he's getting better with his movies.
He's getting better.
So
Austin's one of those guys that's getting better and better in his career.
But let's our favorite part, let's mash them up.
Mashing up. Starting number 5?
Yeah.
What was your 5?
Legendary.
I'll do Legendary better than Princess Bride, definitely.
I'd hope so.
I liked it.
Number 4, we have See No Evil and The Longest Yard.
See No Evil is really good. The Longest Yard is really good. But if it's favorite wrestling star movies, we should probably more go with See No Evil than anything.
Yeah, I mean, Longest Yard is great. How big of a role did these players have? I will say, I think they did have a decent role where they could be in there. So it's possible both could make the list. That's the hard thing.
Right.
I feel like See No Evil should.
Me too.
Because for us not liking horror, but for us to say, but there is that one horror movie we do like.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen the second one yet?
Not yet. I want to.
Okay.
Though. Let's just skip it for a second because we have some others on here that could be 4, 3, 2, and 1. That's the thing. Like I have Gridiron Gang, The Marine, and Walking Tall. You have Scorpion King, Blade, and Ready to Rumble.
Right.
Those could say no, See No Evil, and The Longest Yard are out.
Fair enough.
Do you feel like... I feel like Ready to Rumble should be because it was such a popular movie.
Ready to Rumble should be number 1.
Really? Over Walking Tall? Or Gridiron Gang? Or The Marine?
It was my favorite movie.
My top 3 had played really good roles.
It definitely should be number 4. I will compromise and give you Ready to Rumble as number 3, but not number 4.
I will put it Ready to Rumble at 3.
All right. But yeah, number 1 should probably be. What was your top 3?
Gridiron Gang, then The Marine, then Walking Tall.
I would give number 1 to Gridiron Gang.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie.
We're gonna jump that from a 3 to a 1.
I would. I mean, if you don't want to, it's fine.
No, I have no problem. My 3, 2, and 1s are some of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big sports movie fan, but when I saw that movie, I really enjoyed it.
A lot of people did, so I'll put it at
movie.
1. I feel like Walking Tall should be number 2, though, because there are a lot of people. Walking Tall is a movie that everybody can watch. It's not just action or just drama or just comedy. It's got everything.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Had a great cast, and Dwayne's performance was just phenomenal in it.
Mm-hmm. I really feel like it could be. It could be. I think it should be our number 2, but I feel like it could have been a number 1.
It could have been. But I think Gridiron Gang should be up there, though.
So that's why I said we shouldn't put See No Evil or Longest Yard at 4 yet, because we do have some good ones.
Yeah.
We have the Marine.
Looking at the list, what we have so far, we just have a lot of great movies on
I mean,
here.
right now we still have The Marine, The Scorpion King, Blade 3. I feel like Scorpion King should be, because that I feel like started the whole phase of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Scorpion King should probably be number 3.
Number 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not number 3, Ready to Rumble was 3.
Yeah.
Would you push?
So we need a spot for number 4 and number 2.
Oh, no, we got number 2.
Or
I thought Walking Tall.
3 and
3 and 4. Because right now, Ready to Rumble is 3, but do you feel like Scorpion King should be 3 and Ready to Rumble should be 4?
No.
You feel like Scorpion King at 4?
I'm pretty happy with Ready to Rumble at number 3.
Well, then I think Scorpion King should go at 4, because Scorpion King should be on the list because it started the whole phase.
It really did, yeah, absolutely. So we have Legendary, Scorpion King, Ready to Rumble,
Walking Tall.
Walking Tall, Good Iron Gang. So that's what, 1, 2.
That's 5.
5? Yeah.
That's 5. That's
so
it.
why don't you give our
There we go.
fan
So
base.
just to recap, at number 5, it's Legendary, starring John Cena and the great Danny Glover. I consider him a great actor. At number 4, what started it all, thank you, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the Scorpion King. At number 3, I still haven't finished watching it, but this guy right here loves it. It's Ready to Rumble. The wrestlers didn't even have to figure out the character themselves. They played their everyday
David
characters.
Arquette did.
Whoop-de-doo. At number 2, it's Walking Tall, based off a true story. It's emotional. It's got the comedy, the action. Who doesn't love it? But at number 1, this guy hates sports, but he loves this sports movie, Gridiron Gang. Dwayne Johnson got to go back and do what he loves, football. Who doesn't love football?
That's right.
You are un-American if you don't love football.
Un-American.
But there we go. That's our 5 through 1. Don't forget to hit us up on our Facebook page when we'll post it later and give us your top 5 movies that wrestlers have starred in.
So I'm sure we have missed plenty. I know in the 80s, Hulk Hogan did a bunch of movies on his own.
Rowdy Piper did. Jesse
Piper
Ventura.
did.
Jesse Ventura was in
Jesse
the
Ventura did a bunch.
Predator. He was in Predator.
Yeah, that's right, yep.
So
So there's a bunch back then that we did, but these are the ones that really stick out to us, the ones that we really enjoyed watching over and over again.
exactly.
With all these movies that we discussed, the top 5, what's the best quality acting for these movies wrestlers should be doing? So what I mean, let me explain myself on this. So do you see a wrestler going to a movie to do just action, just comedy, just drama? What genre best fits a professional wrestler to do?
Well, if you look up front right now, 90% of what we have up front, I feel like, is action.
Yes.
They're in the business of action. Wrestling is nonstop action. Granted, there is the whole sometimes a little love story tweak in there or some drama.
Yes.
But I feel like the action movies are what people love to go and see with the special effects and everything. And I feel like that's the easiest thing for them to do. Now, why I say my list, for instance, had a lot of the drama aspect, because I want to see something different. If you can pull off doing something outside of your comfort zone and pull it off 100% and put on an amazing movie, you do a great job.
Right.
And even with The Rock, for instance, he's done a couple family movies, which I
has.
thought were good. The Game Plan was a decent movie. I know you don't like it, but I enjoyed it. The Tooth Fairy. So,
Well, I don't know if I like it or not. I've never seen it.
exactly. Like I said, you said if I buy it, you'll watch it. So, I bought it. But that's what makes a great wrestler turning into an actor, I feel like, is if you can switch up your role. You don't want to do the same thing, like I said earlier, and get stale.
Right. I see exactly what you're saying. I know Chris Hardwick. He is a stand-up comedian. He does a lot of other stuff, but he's always saying that comedy is the hardest business to get into.
Yes.
And that's why in my top 5, I added those comedy movies. Because it is so hard to do. I'm not sure if you ever tried doing comedy. It is so hard. Because your job is to make people laugh.
Exactly. And you might think you're funny, but you might not be funny to somebody else.
So when you get in front of a TV camera and you're trying to be funny in a movie, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be a great actor. So I like to see these guys who are into a lot of the action stuff, because they're wrestlers, they're actions, you said it yourself, do a comedy role. See what happens.
That's why Cena's movies, for instance, in The Marine and 12 Rounds, I feel like, yes, they were action movies. They're probably classified as action, but he pulls off some good drama in there too.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a good split for him. and he is starting to try to go into a little bit of comedy. The new movie Trainwreck with Amy Schumer.
Oh, yes, I've heard about this.
Yes, he's in that. He's doing a comedy part in that.
Is that a comedy movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That is a comedy movie.
I guess.
I mean, he
Amy
also.
Shoemaker. I mean, as a.
Yeah, I mean,
would be
she's a stand-up comic.
Yeah,
so
it would be a comedy.
he's
yeah.
also done a couple, because we know Cena as the kid-friendly wrestler. He's done.
Yep.
I didn't enjoy them, but the Fred movies.
I never saw 'em.
They're horrible.
I've never saw 'em.
And then we also they're doing Scooby-Doo movies. Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones WWE has done lately. So you don't really have to
A lot
do
of voice acting
yeah,
too. Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
have to be the on-screen actor. You can be really good at voice acting, because that's what you're doing right now in WWE with your promos.
I would assume that if it comes to voice acting, any wrestler would be amazing at it, no matter what.
That's
All it is just a promo.
you're not even in the studio with your fellow cast members.
Right. They could be across the country and still making a great movie.
That's why, for instance, it's not a wrestling movie, but it's a little off topic. The Jungle Book movie coming out.
The live action one.
Yeah, the live action one coming out
Okay.
next year. If you look at that cast, those are like top ranked actors playing these roles. You got Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, for instance, and they're not acting; they're just doing voices, and they do a great job at it too.
Yeah.
You have to respect even, I think, the people who do the voiceovers, which we always give credit for our Dragon Ball episode.
Yep.
I mean, there you go. There's an instance
Yeah.
where you're not here, but the whole voiceover, amazing.
It was phenomenal. It was
Yes.
a phenomenal job done.
So
I didn't even think about the aspect of voice acting because I was just thinking about cameo in movies and TV shows, doing advertising for products. I never thought about the whole aspect of voice acting.
and the voiceovers are doing great picks too, because the Flintstones, great kids TV show, but it kind of also kicks back to the adults, because I remember as a little kid watching the Flintstones. It's one of my all-time favorite cartoons to watch.
Yeah.
And for kids today, with the Scooby-Doo episodes. And they're also on WWE does their own cartoon, which is the Slam City.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great place to go ahead and show some of your talents just doing the voiceovers.
Yeah. And speaking of that, wrestlers are trying to get movies. Do you think they really need to audition? Do you think you have, like, say, John Cena goes in, who's been acting for a while now? Do you think he's like, well, I want to do this type of movie? Do you think it's easy for him to get that type of movie? So, for what I mean by that type, I mean, like an action film. Like, he wants to do a good, like, die-hard action kind of movie.
Now, are we talking WWE Studios or?
Outside WWE Studios.
Yeah, I feel like even as a wrestler, you probably have an agent.
Yeah, I would assume so.
And I would feel like the agent's responsibility is to say, look, I think you've done this type of movie, and there's this role. Go ahead and take it, and go ahead and try for it. I think on the case of John Cena, for instance, in Trainwreck, I read he didn't even think about doing that movie.
Okay.
It was like Amy Schumer and all them came to him because they wanted to do a movie with him. Because also the basketball player LeBron James is in that movie.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think sometimes they might come to a wrestler because they want them. I mean, do you really think, like in The Longest Yard, those 4 wrestlers said, I want to be in this movie? I really think Adam Sandler, because a lot of Adam Sandler's movies, he picks his cast. I feel like
He does, yeah.
I feel like if it's a big name movie and you're going to be like for The Rock, I think he probably auditions and stuff, but being so big, he's one of the highest paying actors right now. People probably want him to be in their movies. I feel like they still have to audition, but I feel like the cameo roles, they come to you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think The Rock has to audition too much. I'm sure he still does, though. I'm sure he still does.
Because I know you haven't seen San Andreas yet, but he did an amazing job in that movie. So I could see them saying, we want you. Obviously, he doesn't have to audition for Furious movies, Furious 7s and 8s.
Right, yeah.
But
I'd love to get that guy in the studio and talk to him, see how he gets
you could say one that, because he wasn't in the first one, but G.I. Joe Retaliation, the second one. Do you think he auditioned for that, or do you?
I think he did.
Or could you see? Because I can see him when you have the cast and you have Roadblock, who's this big, giant, tough guy carrying a Gatling gun.
Right.
Who do you picture in Hollywood? Big guys that could do that. I see The Rock.
Well, you keep in mind, you have 600 billion people on the planet, you know? So I think he would have to audition to get that role.
Yeah.
I bet you he was a G.I. Joe fan as a kid, and he wanted to do this movie, and I bet you he had to audition for it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the best part is when you're a fan of something growing up, and then you pull that role off. Like we always go back to Stephen Amell, wrestling. He was a huge fan growing up, and he wanted to do it, and he did a great job. So if you're a big fan of something, I feel like you'll pull it off pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
But the big top two ones are Steve Austin and The Rock. They have broken away from the wrestling company.
Mm-hmm.
They do make their cameos back once in a while. Those guys have just paved the road for any other wrestler who wants to become an actor, I think. Because Steve Austin does a lot of TV. Rock does a few TV shows right now, but he's mostly the movie guy.
Yeah, he's got a show, I think, on HBO or something like that.
Yeah, what the heck is that called? High Roller or High Baller or something like that.
I think it's
a football movie, right?
Yep.
Where he plays an agent.
I don't know the whole background, but I know it was basically on HBO.
I want to say it's like an R-rated version of Jeremy Maguire, I think.
So.
I think, something like that. And Austin, he does a lot of reality, actually, doesn't he? That Broke Skull Island.
Yeah, he did that, and Redneck Island, too. He's done.
Redneck Island, yeah.
Great game show reality.
I saw a few episodes of that show. It's kind of good.
And then Broken Skull Challenge.
Ranch.
Yeah, something like that. It's on CMT. So.
What's Austin up to now, do you know?
I think it's just his podcast, basically, for WWE. He's doing a lot.
He's back with WWE doing the podcast stuff?
which is very popular right now. So.
Podcast way to go. You have a lot of wrestlers going over the podcast. I mean, I heard an interview with Taz, because Taz has his own podcast right now. The Taz Show. He goes, he's actually live right now streaming. But he's made a very good career for himself too. He got injured, he became a commentary. Then from there, he went to talk radio podcast.
Yeah.
And podcast's the way to go right now. I mean, Austin doing a great job with it. Taz doing a great job with it. I honestly don't see The Rock doing that path. I see him continuing doing movies.
Exactly.
Do you think The Rock's going to do anything else besides action and drama?
I think he's happy doing the movies and part-time a little bit with wrestling. I see. Because why mess with something that's so great right now? Like I said, he's one of the highest-paying actors right now. His films are grossing billions. So why mess with success?
Right.
So, yep.
Andy, we're getting close to the end of the show. Any final thoughts, words, comments, questions, concerns?
All I want to do mention, we didn't get to say it on our last filming day, but you know me being the big sports fan I am, I like to let all the nerds out there know what's been going on in sports land sometimes.
We should make a final segment for this for you.
Yeah. But baseball season just ended, so I'd like to congratulate any fans out there who are Kansas City Royal fans. They finally won the World Series. Last time they won it was in 1985. So it's been a while. So congratulations to you Kansas City Royals and fans all out there. But
how's football going this year?
Not good for me right now.
So
I've lost 3 games in a row for my team.
Oh, no.
I know. It's like, God. But it's still my favorite sport.
Who's going to win this year? What do you think?
I got to say my Packers all the
So
time.
I heard the Panthers are doing really good this year, too.
9-0. 9-0 never started that well. So, yeah. My dad's team, the Cowboys, have lost 7 in a row. Horrible for them. But,
and Patriots are what?
oh, screw the Patriots. They're 9-0
lost
too.
one game.
No, they're 9-0.
I thought they lost one game 2 weeks ago.
No, they won.
Oh, did they?
Yep, they won.
Huh.
I hate the Patriots. Screw them.
Because I know the Eagles were doing good yesterday, but then they dropped the ball.
Yeah. But still in the running, though.
Still in the running.
The division for you guys is horrible, so you could have a horrible record and win it. But let's, the worst part of the show, like we always say.
Oh, we can't stretch this on any longer?
No, we're almost out of time there.
All right,
so
close us out.
Let me close it out. Thank you, fans, for watching. Remember, you can watch any one of our episodes anytime you want, whether it's on Facebook at Legends of the Nerds or on our YouTube channel. Subscribe at Legends of the Nerds, and follow us on Twitter. We always like to tweet live sometimes during the shows, and we want to hear what you have to say about everything. Also, I want to mention, it's almost that time of the year, the end of the year, and we're going to put on a great end of the year show for you. We're going to put on an awards show, kind of like what they do with the Grammys, the Oscars, everything like that. We'll be having in the near future on our Facebook page all of the categories for Best Actor, Best Movie, Best Wrestling Match, Favorite Sport, everything. Please go onto our Facebook page and tell us who you would vote for. And on our last show of the year, we'll have the awards, and we'll let you all know that day.
Do you have
who
a
wins.
name for this award show yet?
Not yet. I'm
Not
still
yet.
coming up with things.
Still working on it,
I just got the categories finished.
Okay.
But I hope you all go to the Facebook page and vote. And remember out there, stay nerdy.